January 30th, 1649. For the first time in history, a nation executed its own king. When the blade struck Charles I, divine right died with him. From that moment, no monarch would ever again stand entirely above the law, but freedom's price would prove heavier than anyone imagined. Charles I ruled by divine right, believing his power came from God alone. He dismissed Parliament, raised taxes, and silenced opposition. Yet across England, voices rose in defiance. Merchants, Puritans, and commoners demanded that the king answer to the people.
Kings are not bound by men's will.
Then you will be bound by their swords.
Question: where did this crisis of power first erupt?
The English Civil War. It was king versus Parliament. Charles believed in divine right. Parliament believed in shared power. Their biggest clash was over taxation.
Exactly. Parliament held the power of the purse. When Charles tried to rule without them for 11 years, tension turned into war.
England erupted into civil war. Royalists fought for the crown. Parliamentarians fought for liberty. Families were torn apart. Brother battled brother. And amid the chaos, one man rose to command the revolution. Oliver Cromwell began as a farmer and Puritan preacher, a man of conviction, not ambition, but war transformed him. His new model army fought with faith, discipline, and purpose. Cromwell believed he was chosen to cleanse England of corruption, both royal and sinful.
We fight not for riches or crowns, but for the soul of this nation.
Cromwell believed peace was impossible while Charles lived. He supported Pride's purge, removing moderates from Parliament, leaving the rump Parliament to try the king.
And I heard that Cromwell personally signed the death warrant. He was third of 59 signers.
In 1649, England tried its own king for treason, a crime once unthinkable.
I am the king. The law is in my breast.
The law is above even kings.
The execution of Charles I shattered the divine right of kings forever. The monarch was no longer sacred. He was accountable to the people. It was a revolution, not just in politics, but in the human mind. Cromwell abolished the monarchy and declared England a Commonwealth, a republic under his godly rule. But what began as liberation became restriction. Cromwell's Puritan Parliament banned gambling, dancing, theater, sports. The man even banned Christmas.
Better a sober people in heaven than a merry one in hell.
For Cromwell, joy itself was temptation, and temptation was sin. England became a nation of order without laughter, faith without celebration. When a revolution silences music, the people soon grow deaf to its ideals.
This was the site of the Blackfriars Theatre, once alive with Shakespeare's plays. Cromwell's government shut it down.
Right, the Puritans banned all fun. Even Christmas was outlawed.
They declared December 25th a day of fasting instead of feasting. Soldiers patrolled the streets to confiscate holiday food. People rioted in protest. They missed their joy.
It's fascinating. The man who fought tyranny became a tyrant of morality.
Exactly. It shows that even revolutions can lose their soul when they forget humanity.
After Cromwell's death, England longed for light again. In 1660, they restored the monarchy under Charles II, the Merry Monarch. Theaters reopened, laughter returned, and Christmas once again filled the streets. Yet the people had learned a king could rule only with consent.
The Restoration brought back monarchy, but not absolutism. The lesson of Charles I still echoed. No ruler stood above Parliament.
But the conflict wasn't truly over until the next crisis, the Glorious Revolution of 1688.
When James II tried to reclaim absolute power and restore Catholic dominance, Parliament responded. They invited William of Orange and Mary, his Protestant wife, to rule. It was a revolution without blood, a victory of law over force. The English Bill of Rights transformed monarchy into partnership. No king could suspend laws, tax, or raise armies without Parliament's approval. Elections were to be free, speech in Parliament protected, and cruel punishments forbidden. The throne became constitutional, a symbol, not a command.
So this was the final settlement, a monarchy ruled by law?
Exactly. The Civil War proved a king could be removed. The Glorious Revolution proved he must be limited. Together, they built the foundation for modern democracy.
The English Civil War and the Glorious Revolution echoed far beyond Britain. Thinkers like John Locke wrote of natural rights, life, liberty, and property. His ideas crossed oceans, inspiring revolutions from America to France. From England's turmoil emerged the world's enduring blueprint for representative government. Oliver Cromwell destroyed tyranny, but in his zeal forgot joy. Charles I died for his defiance, Cromwell for his control. From both came a hard-earned truth. Liberty cannot live in chains, not of monarchy nor of moral fear.
Rebellion gave Britain its freedom, law gave it balance.
And the people, finally, found their voice.
History doesn't repeat, but it whispers. In the 1640s, the English people grew tired of a king who ignored their needs and disrespected their rights. They felt unheard, dismissed, and pushed to the edge. So, in a wave of fury, they did the unthinkable. They rose up, fought a war, and removed their king from power permanently. It was a revolution born from righteous anger, a promise to build a better, fairer nation. But the man who replaced the king wasn't what they expected. Oliver Cromwell, a military genius and a devout Puritan, stepped into the power vacuum. He promised virtue, discipline, and a godly society. What he delivered was absolute control. He believed he was saving the nation's soul, but his methods were harsh and uncompromising. Suddenly, the simple joys of life became crimes. He shut down the theaters, believing they were dens of sin. He banned public celebrations and festivals, even canceling Christmas. Taverns were shuttered and soldiers patrolled the streets, enforcing a rigid, joyless order. The vibrant culture of England was silenced, replaced by a gray, oppressive quiet. The people had traded a flawed king for a righteous dictator. This reveals a dangerous truth. Anger can unite a crowd, but it cannot build a nation. The enemy of your enemy is not always the friend you should trust. A shared grievance is a powerful spark, but it's a terrible foundation for a free society. The revolution had succeeded in tearing down the old system, but it failed to build something better in its place. Incredibly, Cromwell's rule became so suffocating that the people began to long for the very monarchy they had fought so hard to overthrow. After his death, they invited the executed king's son, Charles II, back to the throne. The streets that were once silent erupted in celebration. They had learned a bitter lesson. They didn't want another tyrant, but they didn't want a fanatical savior either. They wanted balance. They wanted a system where power was checked and liberty was protected. But England wasn't done learning. When James II tried to reclaim absolute power, the people refused to repeat their past mistakes. Parliament invited William and Mary to rule, not by divine right, but by consent. The Glorious Revolution and the English Bill of Rights finally achieved what decades of war could not: a government where the monarchy was limited, Parliament was supreme, and the rights of the people were protected. And that is the legacy of this era. Not the fury of revolution, but the wisdom to build a system where no ruler stands above the law. This hard-won wisdom helped spark the Enlightenment, inspiring thinkers like John Locke, whose ideas about government and individual rights would eventually cross the Atlantic and shape the founding principles of the United States. The story serves as a warning for today. When people feel unheard, when frustration boils over into fury, every society becomes vulnerable to a similar cycle. It's easy to be swept up in the promise of radical change, to rally behind a strong leader who promises to burn it all down. So be careful what you wish for. Revolutions always promise change, but it is wisdom, not anger, that decides whether that change leads to true freedom or just another kind of cage. The line between a hero and a tyrant can be dangerously thin. Thanks for watching.